Don't you love it? Merry Christmas a little early, everyone. This is our Sunday gathering, Christmas style. It's hard to believe just a couple of days from Christmas, isn't it? And I seem to forget, not only do we have our adults here, but we've got some kids here with us too. I know Rochelle's got her daughter Savannah dancing and singing in the background. So we really are a family Sunday gathering. So welcome wherever you are in the world. I'm Sandra Champlain. I am here with my bestest of pals, Kerry McLeod and Phil Dykes, and the three of us are hoping to add a little Christmas cheer with a little help from you and, of course, our friends in the spirit world. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Phil to tell you a little bit more about our Sunday gathering and get this show on the road. Over to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Sandra, and Merry Christmas to everyone. It's the Christmas Sunday gathering. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here and to be part of this festive fun. And that's what today's really about, Christmas, about having fun, enjoying self and others, and putting everything down and making sure there's no differences between us. That's what Christmas is about. If we can do it in Great Wars, then we can certainly do it this year as well. So, as usual, we have the hostess with the mostess doing everything in the background, and we have strategic parts to play, such as Kerry McLeod doing the prayer, Sandra doing the healing and the reading, myself, Kerry and Sandra doing the address, Kerry McLeod by herself, no, only joking, and me doing the mediumship as well. Just wanted to give her a heart attack. And also then the words of the week jointly between myself and Kerry. And again, that prayer at the end. It's the usual format, but with a little bit of fun, and I'm sure a little bit of twists here and there. And with that theme of Christmas, who knows what we're about to say, but hopefully it'll make a difference and inspire you. So welcome to the Sunday gathering. And I'm going to hand over to Kerry to open us up in prayer.
Thank you very much. As we enter into this space, regardless of which faith, belief, or God you may close your eyes and pray to, may you join me within this space. If you wish to say your own prayer, feel free to. Divine, gracious, creative Spirit, today we're in this space with a certain date in mind, that date that brought someone special to our world. On every day throughout the years, there is someone special born to this world. Some days it might be me, some days it might be you, but on every single day, there are very special people born. We wish to celebrate Christmas, but actually, there are so many births that have brought so many gifts, that have brought so much joy and healing to this world, that we wish to celebrate. And may we remember to take the joy we feel during this gathering into each and every day as we move forward. Allow this joy to remind us that life is an experience, and that experience should be loved and lived to its fullest, and that one day we will make our transition into spirit, where we will be welcomed as if it was our birthday all again. Until that time, we allow ourselves to be within this world, celebrating with our friends, our families, both here and in that world unseen. Enjoy. Amen.
Thank you so much, Kerry. I do have a reading for you, but before I read that, I want to read something else. Our community member, Marley, felt inspired to write these words for us for our Sunday gathering. It says, Christmas holiday, and throughout joys and stresses that bless and confound, let us make this year of stresses and woes one of acceptance and of love, as we complete yet another year of adventure in the joys of miracles evidenced in unconditional love. We celebrate those who have walked on to the beloved summerland, to their eternal life and spirit, with this recognition of life beyond physical life. We are love manifest, and we honor those beyond the veil, the pioneers and eternal masters of faith, while we celebrate the gifts of spirit with our memories in tree lights and candles, of blessings and prayers as gifts of love. Merry Christmas to all friends and loved ones present and beyond the veil. Thank you for sending that in, Marley. Okay, my reading is called My Christmas Miracle, and it's written by Taylor Caldwell, and it's a story that happened to her almost 100 years ago. So the story is old, but it's a good one. Although I did not guess it, my own truest Christmas began on a rainy spring day in the bleakest year of my life. Recently divorced, I was in my 20s, had no job, and was on my way downtown to go the rounds of the unemployment offices. I had no umbrella, for my old one had fallen apart, and I could not afford another one. I sat down in the streetcar, and there against the seat was a beautiful silk umbrella with a silver handle inlaid with gold and flecks of bright enamel. I had never seen anything so lovely. I examined the handle and saw a name engraved among the golden scrolls. The usual procedure would have been to turn in the umbrella to the conductor, but on impulse, I decided to take it with me and find the owner myself. I got off the streetcar in a downpour and thankfully opened the umbrella to protect myself. Then I searched a telephone book for the name on the umbrella and found it. I called and a lady answered. Yes, she said in surprise. That was her umbrella, which her parents, now dead, had given her for a very special birthday present. But, she added, it had been stolen from her locker at school. She was a teacher, more than a year before. She was so excited that I forgot I was looking for a job and went directly to her small house. She took the umbrella and her eyes filled with tears. The teacher wanted to give me a reward, but though $20 was all I had in the world, her happiness at retrieving the special possession was such that to have accepted money would have spoiled the gift. We talked for a while, and I must have given her my address. I don't remember, though. The next 6 months were wretched. I was able to obtain only temporary employment here and there for a small salary, though this was now what they were calling the Roaring Twenties. But I put aside 25 or 50 cents when I could afford it for my little girl's Christmas presents. It took me 6 months to save $8. My last job ended the day before Christmas. My $30 in rent was soon due, and I had $15 to my name, which Peggy and I would need for food. She was home from her convent boarding school and was excitedly looking forward to her gifts the next day, which I had already purchased. I had bought her a small tree, and we were going to decorate it that night. The stormy air was full of the sound of Christmas merriment as I walked from the streetcar to my small apartment. Bells rang and children shouted in the bitter dusk of the evening, and windows were lighted and everyone was running and laughing. But there would be no Christmas for me, I knew, no gifts, no remembrance whatsoever. As I struggled through the snowdrifts, I just about reached the lowest point in my life. Unless a miracle happened, I would be homeless in January, foodless and jobless. I had prayed steadily for weeks, but there had been no answer but this coldness and darkness, this harsh air, and this abandonment. God and men had completely forgotten me. I felt old as death and as lonely. What was to become of us? I looked in my mailbox. There were only bills in it, a sheaf of them, and 2 white envelopes, which I was sure contained more bills. I went up 3 dusty flights of stairs, and I cried, shivering in my thin coat. But I made myself smile so I could greet my little daughter with a pretense of happiness. She opened the door for me and threw herself in my arms, screaming joyously and demanding that we decorate the tree immediately. Peggy was not yet 6 years old and had been alone all day while I worked. She had set our kitchen table for our evening meal proudly and put pans out and the 3 cans of food, which would be our dinner. For some reason, when I looked at those pans and cans, I felt brokenhearted. We would have only hamburgers for our Christmas dinner tomorrow and gelatin. I stood in the cold little kitchen and misery overwhelmed me. For the first time in my life, I doubted the existence of God and his mercy, and the coldness in my heart was colder than ice. The doorbell rang, and Peggy ran to answer it, saying that it must be Santa Claus. Then I heard a man talking heartily to her and went to the door. He was a delivery man with his arms filled with big parcels, and he was laughing at my child's frenzied joy and her dancing. "This is a mistake," I said, but he read the name on the parcels, and they were for me. When he had gone, I could only stare at the boxes. Peggy and I sat on the floor and opened them all. A huge doll, 3 times the size of the one I had bought her. Gloves, candy, a beautiful leather purse. Incredible. I looked for the name of the sender. It was the teacher. The address simply California, where she had moved. Our dinner that night was the most delicious I had ever eaten. I prayed, saying, "Thank you, Father." I forgot I had no money for the rent and only $15 in my purse and no job. My child and I ate and laughed together in happiness. Then we decorated the little tree, and I marveled at it. I put Peggy to bed and set up her gifts around the tree, and a sweet peace flooded throughout me. I had some hope again. I could even examine the sheaf of bills without cringing. Then I opened the 2 white envelopes. One contained a check for $30 from a company I had worked for briefly in the summer. It was, said a note, my Christmas bonus, my rent. The other envelope was an offer of a permanent position with the government to begin in 2 days after Christmas. I sat with the letter in my hand and the check on the table before me, and I think that was the most joyful moment of my life. The church bells began to ring. I hurriedly looked at my child, who was sleeping blissfully, and ran down to the street. Everywhere people were walking to church to celebrate Christmas. People smiled at me, and I smiled back. The storm had stopped. The sky was pure and glittering with stars. Someone began to sing, "Come, all ye faithful." I joined in and sang with the strangers all about me. I am not alone at all. I thought I was never alone at all. And that, of course, is the message of Christmas. We are never alone. That story touched my heart, and I hope it did yours too. So thank you for listening. We're going to go into our healing segment now, and our song is Michael Bublé singing "It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas." Then you'll hear some words for our address from Kerry, Phil, and myself. And as we go into our healing, we folks can do everything possible to make our Christmas season or holiday season brighter for others. And by sending healing, that is a perfect way to start. If you want to imagine people, pets, places, situations, perfect, happy, whole, and well, maybe some of the little fairy dust or snow of the magic of Christmas time, those in the unseen world can use our energy and direct it wherever it is needed. So just sit back, relax, listen to this beautiful song. If we can feel a little bit of that joy and just send that healing to those in need.
You kind of know Christmas is coming when you hear a bit of Michael Bublé.
Mr. Bubbles.
Or Mr. Bubbles, as my mum used to call him. If we think about this time of year, regardless of which faith or religion or belief you follow, there's something that happens at this time of year. We look backwards and we move our minds into the future as well. And we can remember many. For those of you who celebrate Christmas, you'll have some Christmases that just stick in your mind. The first Christmas you remember as a child. The first Christmas you had a real Christmas tree. The first Christmas that you thought you heard Santa land on the roof and the reindeers taking off. The first Christmas you could watch online as Santa made his way around the globe. I remember that with my daughter. Some of you will remember your first Christmas if you've been lucky enough to be able to live in a place where there is snow. There's not very many places in the world now that you can do that. Your first Christmas as a couple. Your first Christmas with your child, whether it have 2 legs or 4. Your first Christmas in your new house, your new country. Your first Christmas with new members of the family, either because they've come into it as a born little baby, or whether they've joined because they have married into or become part of an extended family. Or in some of our friends' cases, they've met new members of family they didn't even know they had. And so there's a first Christmas there. Then there's the first Christmas when we are without some of our people. They might be working. They might be working shifts. They might be serving their country in some way, overseas or even in this country. The first Christmas that you don't get to spend face to face and be able to hug that person. And of course, the first Christmas that your person isn't walking this earth anymore and is now flying with the angels within that place unseen. Their first Christmas in that world, I wonder what it's like for them. I wonder if they long for the food and the tastes. Whatever this Christmas is for you, it will be a first. It will be a first, given the whole year you've experienced. In some way, it will be a first because there's new people joined you, or there are people that are no longer with us for whatever reason. It will be the first Christmas because you will either be trying a new recipe, or you'll be in a new home, or you'll have some new way of looking at Christmas. For me, Christmas begins on Christmas Eve. I don't know if any of you know this, but I'm not a fan of the run-up to Christmas. I love Christmas. But for me, it's family. It's about getting together, sharing stories, eating food, bringing all sorts of food to each other's homes. It's about spending time together, sharing stories. I don't need a card to know that Phil, my daughter, my in-laws, my parents, my stepchildren, my friends love me. All I need is for it to be mentioned more than just on Christmas Day. So this Christmas Day, whether you are missing a Merry Christmas because your person or persons aren't with you, or because you're getting extra Merry Christmases because there's more people with you this year than last, make it a first of something Christmas. The first of something Christmas will always be remembered. So it's not your first Christmas because never to return. Make it the first Christmas, write it down so that next year you can remember why this was the first one. And next year, yeah, it'll be the first one again.
Thank you, Kerry. Do you know, When Sandra said to me that this week's service is going to be mine, and I realized it was Christmas, I thought it's going to be something special, because Christmas, everyone thinks, is a wondrous time of the year. There's wondrous things, activities, fairs, markets, films, celebrations, pantomimes, all kinds of things, kids celebrating and putting those performances on at schools, and we're all going to see the children, the grandchildren. It is about family. But the most humbling Christmas and the most important Christmas I've ever had in my life, as Kerry was talking about the first, was the first Christmas I was alone. Several years ago, where my family weren't around me, my children weren't there, my circumstances had completely changed, and I was completely alone. And I didn't want to be alone. So I went round the corner to a local public house that was very family orientated, very friendly. And I sat there for a good few hours. And at first I felt sorry for myself. And at first I was missing the kids, family, everybody. But then I realized that I had a choice. I could either sit there in that gloom, or I could participate with those people that were celebrating around me. And within moments of making that decision to change my thoughts, my behavior, my interactions with people, I was talking to people. They were introducing themselves. I was getting to know them. And even though today they'll still be strangers, for that one night, we were like a family. We all came together. There was no differences. And it realized that every day doesn't have to be Christmas, can be a miracle. It is our thoughts. It is our way that we perceive life that we can change. And it only takes a second. And at first it seems like a big hurdle, but actually it's not. A simple smile, a simple hello, how are you, can create a conversation, can create introductions. So for me, it was my first Christmas alone that had that sad and that emotional connection. But also it was my first Christmas where I decided to live and take a first step and make decisions that would completely change my life. You only have to look at my side to see that I've got a wonderful wife. I have wonderful children. I have wonderful friendships with the wonderful Sandra Champlain here. And many of you guys that are out there that I've got to know, and we've spent many Christmases together as a community. And it's your stories, your brightness, your happiness that makes it. We never know who's watching. We never know who's listening. And a simple story can change our lives. We just listened to Sandra do that reading and that wonderful story that touched all of us. You've listened to Christmas and what it means to Kerry and that story about the first. And you've listened to me now talk about my first Christmas alone. In some way, shape or form, to each one of our views, and Sandra's still to speak, you'll relate to at some point, at some time, or maybe in the future, you might remember these little talks that we've had throughout the Sunday gatherings and think, you know, I'm not alone. I'm part of a community that changes lives, that inspires people to be better, that lets us know in our moments of grief that we are not alone. We are supported by an unseen world that's doing everything that they can to inspire us. But our fellow community members are our cheerleaders, wanting us to be the best that we possibly can be. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are a miracle of Christmas. This today is your miracle day. It's the start of a new life, the start of changing things, where we're able to transform. You can put your stories in the chat box of your favorite Christmas memories. You could fill that chat box and absolutely break the internet with them. Just call me Racket Ralph. I might as well shout Alexa at this point as well. But it's that understanding that we can have a little bit of fun. A moment of fun can bring tears of laughter, tears of joy, turn tears of sorrow into joy. It's the memories we keep. What we feel today, we'll remember for a lifetime. What we think today changes our tomorrows. Christmas for me is about learning from the past. Many, many actions and deeds have been done at this time of year, just as they are done 365 days a year. It's just a change of thought. We know from history where it's taught us great lessons from wars, where they put down their weapons. They shook hands, they played football, they swapped gifts, they shared food. It's all just a mindset. We can change this world for the better. We can be a cog in that wheel that transforms things. Christmas is a time to do that. It's about human kindness, generosity, not about commercially giving gifts and making people feel happy and making them have a worth. We can do that in different ways. A simple act of unique kindness, of generosity from the heart can change a life, transform a life. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's celebrate Christmas together with one goal in mind: being kind and generous, of giving of the heart. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this community and to be known by you and for me to meet you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Phil, and thank you, Kerry. I'm going to continue on with the miracles because I had one this past week that I want to share. Many of you know my story and how the Sunday gathering came to be, but I'll just give you the condensed version if you're new here. It was 15 years ago almost that my dad died. And in the process, the relationships with my siblings became severed. I became the bad guy, labeled that I was greedy, looking out for his money, et cetera, and so forth. None of it was true, but not only could I not see my siblings, but I couldn't see my nieces and nephews. Okay. So that's what happened. And because of that, I hit an all-time low as a human being, rock bottom depression, was able to pull myself up because I learned about grief. I learned more about the afterlife, ended up writing a book, ended up with a podcast or two, ended up going on a journey that I met Kerry and Phil and other friends as well. And we ended up with this Sunday gathering now on number 248, all out of the worst time of my life. Now, in that, there has been an open wound. And when I really look at what hurt the most, of course, I miss my dad and the grief felt, but I had two kids in my life. I had a niece and a nephew that I was their favorite aunt. I would go to Florida 4 times a year and I would spoil them rotten. So when I really looked to see what hurt the most, it was because I didn't have the relationship with those kids. And, when somebody dies, we experience grief and it's awful. But when somebody's still alive and we're experiencing grief, it's just like this wound that just stays open and can reignite and just be so sore for so long. So I am grateful for things happening exactly the way they did, because here we are today, right? And I'm proud of where we are and the difference we make and the community we have. But that missing was always there. Well, those kids have turned old enough. And the last 4 days, they came up to Mom and I, and they spent time with us. She's now 21, her brother's now 19, and we were reunited with these kids that last we saw were just toddlers. So my heart is filled with love. To me, it's a Christmas miracle. But I think maybe like you, the question of forgiveness comes in. It's so easy for us to be right and make other people wrong. And I was witnessing this, just all my humanity. And just because I have a big smile on my face every Sunday gathering does not mean I have life figured out and that I'm perfect. Absolutely, I am not. But there were all those feelings of what I missed and what if and how come and why couldn't it have been different? And my niece just said, but we have now going forward, right? Words from a kid. And she's absolutely correct. And would I have traded things and not had this Sunday gathering, not had the book, not had the podcast, not have you guys? I'm thinking, well, no, because I like this part of my life. I can't imagine not having Kerry and Phil as friends. I would have never met them. So I think while I'm soaking up these feelings of joy, it's really is to live in the moment. And that reading that I read to you struck a chord with me. It's you never know the difference you make by being you in the world. There is pain, there is suffering, there's misfortunes that happen, there's grief, there's sadness. And I started thinking, you know, what if all of this is happening for growth of the soul? What if this life that I live here is about Sandra and Sandra's growth, and the life you live, it's about you and your growth? Now, I do know terrible things happen, accidents happen. I'm not a believer that everything that happens in our life happens for a purpose. I'm not, and that it was predestined to happen. If that's your belief, I'm not going to take it away from you because I know that can be very empowering. But also, I start thinking, well, what if, you know, what if everything that's happening to us, like that lady who got all those gifts and the money at the end just by being a good person, what if we can just have faith? We don't need to see the road ahead of us, but we have faith that we are divinely guided, that we've got cheerleaders in the unseen world around us that are just saying, oh my gosh, just hold on a little bit longer. You know, there's a miracle right around the corner. Just hold on. And not just for me, but for you too. Is it 1 year? Is it 15 years? Like in my case, is it 50 years? I don't know. But what would it be like to live in that faith that we might not know the road ahead, but I'm going to continue, darn it, being the best person I can be, doing everything I can to uplift and inspire and keep working on myself and motivate and grow and talking about happy memories with others and just trust that my soul and your soul, we're still learning, we're still growing. But what if everything that's happening really is for us? An opportunity to learn to forgive, an opportunity to learn to be in the present moment with people, an opportunity to love. Someday, we'll be looking back on our life. And I've interviewed enough people to think, yes, we have a life review of some sort, different kinds for different people. But what if we have that moment and we look back? Did we make a difference? Did we love? Did we forgive? We don't have to wait till the end to have that life review. Really, starting now, let's look back. Are there amends to be made? Maybe. Are there things you need to tell yourself? Are there things you want to do with your life? Go for it. But don't wait for someday to look back. Don't wait for someday to think about what your dreams are, what you could have done, you should have done, you would have done. Just go for it. What if this life truly is designed for you, for the evolution of your soul? And what if, like that lady with the umbrella and the gifts at the end, and me going through the worst hardship of my life to be with you today. And then the ultimate gift is to be reunited with these two precious young people who are pretty cool, by the way. What if we just have a little faith? Like I said, we don't need to know the big picture, but just the next step ahead. And we trust that out there, somewhere pretty close, we've got a whole slew of cheerleaders on our side. And for each action that we take, it will come back to us in one way or the other. So my message is a message of a Christmas miracle, but more importantly, it's one of having faith. My friends, I do not wish my journey on anybody, and I know you've had your tough journeys as well. But without that journey exactly the way it was, we wouldn't be here. And if you're facing a real tough time right now, I just ask that you breathe and you think possibly whatever's happening now could lead to something pretty fantastic in the future. And it could be just you being right there for somebody who needs to hear your story or needs that hug from you because you've been there. So don't give up. You are divinely guided. And my last little piece of advice, going off of Kerry's, talking about stories at holiday times, it's just a little strategy. Instead of looking at what coulda, shoulda, woulda been done in the past, stir things up, have people talk about their favorite memories, what it was like when their child was born, what it was like when you met your loved ones for the very first time. What's your favorite vacation spot? What was it? Have you ever had a laugh that you had to run to the bathroom? You could have peed yourself. You were laughing so hard, or your belly hurt. Get people involved in those conversations. And I tell you, it's like a boomerang, back and forth, back and forth. And the next thing you know, you're going to have a holiday time to remember. So that's it for me for our address. I want to thank Kerry and Phil for sharing that with me. And we are going to move on to our demonstration of mediumship. And this is just a joyful time that we get to participate with some loved ones in the spirit world and let everyone know just how close they really are to us. So while we're together today, there will be some friends in our community that will receive readings, but I call our spirit friends who come through that they're like panelists from the other side, because when you listen in, their messages, they're for all of us. You can just hear it. And Kerry and Phil just had a medium demonstration on Friday, and I tell you, I could pull towards me a little bit of every reading, every bit of evidence and just everything to let me know how close our loved ones are, that sometimes there's a need from them for forgiveness, and sometimes there's other things that just take some of those messages on. So for those of you who receive readings, great. For those of you who don't, great, because we know that our spirit friends are panelists from the other side. You'll see Kerry and Phil as they work. They'll deliver first a few bits of information about the spirit person that has connected with them. So they'll give a little description of them. We want everybody to be on the edge of your seat. Listen in. Those friends and family know exactly who's with us on our Sunday gathering today. They can be right next to you right now and then use their energy, however they do it, and pop these messages into Kerry and Phil's being. They use their feelings, they use their thoughts, they use memories, pictures, sounds, smells, tastes, who knows, but they will use them. So as they describe that person, if you can understand 100% of the person that they described as somebody you know that no longer walks this earth. Now, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, somebody rather distant. You never know how they work. But if you can understand all that they described, we want you to press your raise hand button. So this is the time for everybody to look on your device, find that raise hand button and press it. If you're on a phone or an iPad, you might need to press a couple of dots before you see that raise hand button. But that's the only way we really have to communicate with you guys, to know that you can understand the description of the spirit person that has connected. So we ask that you press your raise hand button. Now, the next thing is sometimes there's more than one person that has their raise hand button up to the description that Kerry or Phil gives. They're going to continue to work to describe this person more. That raise hand button should now say lower hand. So if you want to press it again to lower your hand, do that for me, because you may need to do that if you've got your hand raised and they give another piece of information and you can't take it, you press your lower hand. We are over 150 people here on our Sunday gathering. So we do ask that you only press your raise hand button if you can understand all the information. If nobody raises their hand, Kerry or Phil will continue to work so we get to the right person. Trust me. If you are the person left with your hand raised and you're that person that gets a reading, I'm going to press a button on my side. You're going to get a flash pop up on your screen with an unmute button that will appear. Your camera remains off. Don't worry about that. We just see your name. And if you press the unmute button, we can talk. Now it's simple, because all we need from you is one of three responses: yes, no, or I don't know, to the information that Kerry and Phil give about the evidence of the spirit person that's with you. Yes, no, or I don't know. And that goes for any medium reading or demonstration you ever attend. Let the mediums do the work, okay? And why we say this is because far too often, either mediums ask, who am I talking about, et cetera, and so forth. We want you and everybody to leave our Sunday gathering or any medium reading or demonstration, knowing that the medium really truly is connecting with your loved one and you didn't volunteer all of that information. So Kerry, Phil, and myself are working very hard to raise the level of mediumship in the world. So just by saying yes, no, or I don't know, you can do your part in that as well. And like I said, everybody pull the information to you. Witness how close our loved ones are as part of our lives. Just because these loved ones come through doesn't mean your loved one's not standing right by your side, because they work together. Believe you me, they work together. And again, if you can take some of that, those fine words of encouragement, take them on board. I know I do. So we always like to play a song before we go into our demonstration. We got a great Christmas song from Wham, an oldie, but a real goodie. So as I play the song, just feel that joy. Just imagine your loved ones so close to you, because that's how we communicate with them. We're not making it up when we use our imagination. Very often, that's them putting the thoughts and feelings within us. So let me find our song, and we will be back, friends, with our demonstration in just about 3 minutes-ish. Another oldie but goodie.
And it's a song, isn't it, that just takes everybody back to, I don't know, is it 30 years ago?
It's 30 years exactly. It's the second time it's hit #1.
Yes, it's #1 in Britain for Christmas this year, because it never got there first time around. Okay, so here we are, the last Sunday gathering before Christmas 2024. I do believe I have a gentleman with me, and I do get the sense that somebody here would have memories. Oh, I know I've got a gentleman here, and I do know somebody here would remember that gentleman being in a cold space in the snow skiing, and I do believe he would have had an accident that would have seriously injured him, if not taken his life. I do believe that this would be mountainous and it would be in the snow.
Thank you very much. Who
I feel
understands?
it's more family, but that's how it feels.
Thank you, Kerry. All right, if you understand this, gentlemen, go ahead and press your raise hand button, please. We are waiting patiently. No hands up just yet until now. All right, Jane, you have your hand raised. If you could press your unmute button. Hi, Jane.
Hello.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, Kerry.
You would understand this gentleman had an accident while skiing in the mountains.
It wasn't while he was skiing, no.
Now, I do feel this happened on the slopes.
Not peacefully, not me then.
Okay, thanks, Jane, for putting your hand up.
We had Lorraine with her hand up, but it went down. Lorraine, can you understand that information? If yes, put your hand back
Don't
up.
be shy.
Don't be shy. No, we're friendly people. All right. Lorraine has her hand raised. Lorraine, if you could press your unmute button, please. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. You understand what I've said, Lorraine?
I recognize a man having a catastrophic accident. It was not in the mountains, so maybe I should disqualify myself.
Was he skiing, Lorraine?
He fell off his roof and broke his neck.
I feel like he was in the mountains.
Then I should disqualify myself.
Okay, thank you for putting your hand up, though, Lorraine. Nice to speak to you.
Okay. We have Mary Alice and Cindy both with their hands raised. I'm going to just bring them both in, and then we
Okay,
can sort
Mary
that out.
Alice and Cindy, do you both recognize this gentleman that would have had a skiing accident or would have been in the mountains in the snow and have had an accident?
Yes.
Mary Alice is a yes.
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
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 And you would know where this accident would have been more than just a tumble.
Yes.
Yes.
And where we are, I actually feel this isn't just a low-lying slope. This is mountainous, as in the Alps or is it the Mounties?
Rockies.
So these are high-level mountains.
Mary
Yes.
Alice?
I
Cindy?
Yes.
I believe so in Chamonix.
And would this gentleman be close to you?
Mary
Not to
Alice?
me, no. Mm-mm.
No. Cindy?
Okay.
Not to me either. Yeah.
But you would know him well enough for you to understand evidence about him.
Yes.
Can I work with Cindy, please, Mary
Sure.
Alice? Thank you
Sure.
for putting that. Hang on there for a second. Cindy, would you also understand husband in the spirit world?
No. Well, he was a husband to someone, not to me.
And are you still friends with this gentleman's wife?
I live in a different city now, so it's been quite a few years, but I did know her well.
Okay. And you would know that he was quite a talker. He was quite a joker, and he was quite social.
I would say yes. Mm-hmm.
Because I get the sense here that there is an incredible ability to pull people together, to be able to speak with others and be socially aware and socially able to pull groups together. Cindy, you would
Yes.
have father in the spirit world as well.
Yes, I do.
And your father must have been the opposite of your friend's husband. Your father must have been quite shy.
No. No. He was outgoing.
Okay. Then would you know a gentleman in the spirit world very close to you that would be quite shy?
Yes.
Because I know I have a gentleman coming in on the back of
I can see the correlation because this fellow also died in the mountains.
but the second gentleman's very close to you, Cindy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I know too that there is he's shy, but I know there's a personality there, and I know he knows you well because I can feel the love, I can feel the affection, I can feel the hurt at not getting to say goodbye. I can feel the hurt at not getting to say farewells. There must have been with this young man, Cindy, questions unanswered for a period of time after his passing.
Yes.
Okay. I know that there is, I feel that there, to this day, still some details that you don't know.
Yes.
Okay. Are you okay for me to continue, Cindy?
Yes.
Okay. I get the sense with this, and he does feel very vibrant, and I do know that he would not have taken any undue risks. I do not feel like he would have done anything to put himself or anybody else in jeopardy.
Well, his accident was, he shouldn't have been doing what he was doing.
Then I feel like there is an element here that that must have contributed to it, almost like that perfect storm where there's a whole series of things that come together, because whatever his actions were not in normal circumstances, would not have led to his passing.
True.
I know too that he there's some correspondence you have from him that you still retain.
I did, yes. I have letters.
I also want to say there is a photograph that he wrote on the back of that came
Yes.
to you after his passing, Cindy.
I'm not sure if it was after. I think
Okay,
it was
then
before.
he must have had pictures within which he was wearing, it looks like a uniform. It's very
Not-
neat, very, it's
Oh, yeah, probably a cadet uniform.
okay, because I know his skills and his understanding, he knew more than many people about safety and health and welfare. And he also, Cindy, would this be your son?
Nope.
Then I want to say that he looks to you very affectionately. I feel an open heart with you, like you and him would have had very honest conversations.
Yes, we're very young.
I need to say that this is his way of showing he is fine and well, as we know in the spirit world. But I also get this impression that you would at this moment be looking at, I'm trying to understand how he's wanting to put this. There's a sense of him wanting to highlight that he knows what's happening within the younger people in the family.
Understood? Mhm.
And he is, to the best of his ability, offering his level head and his sensibility where that situation is concerned. He can't make people change their minds, but he can influence because he knows that that is what you would want.
Thank you.
I know he wants to, he's got such a great affection for you. You must have had some really good times as a couple of younger people. And I know that you have, I do feel you're going to have the occasion with the first gentleman to be in contact with his family. So I'm going to say, Lee, I'm going to leave that with you and allow that to transpire in whichever way it goes. And of course, Sandra will always have the recording there for anybody that wishes to watch this back. Thank you very much for putting your hand up, Cindy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I do feel like I have a gentleman here, and I feel like he would be within your family, but I also know that he is, if he isn't police, then he, in Britain, we would call them military police, maybe special security. I feel like it would be with government officials, that he would be on security watch. And I do feel that he would have, feel like he would have known quite famous people. And I know he's within the family, and I get the sense that his passing was very, very quick. That makes sense to somebody in our audience.
Thank you, Kerry. All right, friends, if you understand that information, please press that raise hand button. Doris, you have your hand raised. Doris, if you could press that unmute button, please. Hi, Doris.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, Doris. Do you understand what I've said?
Yes.
And you understand this gentleman would have, forgive me, I don't feel a relationship to him just yet, but you understand he would have been security, his job would have been protecting people that were government officials or in that line of work.
Yes.
And you would also know that he would have met people like presidents or people within the American government.
Yes.
Okay. I also get the sense that he wouldn't have been able to share too much. But though the stories that he did share, it sounds as if he might have added bits on that you would know about.
Yes.
There's a positivity here about his heart, his intention, and I know that he would have done almost anything for the people he protected.
Yes.
I also need to say, Doris, that he wasn't extremely affectionate with his emotions, but I do know he loved his family.
Yes.
And I know his way of protecting his family was to look after his country.
Absolutely.
And I know that as he looked after his country, he would have had, there is a very specific and not often given award or medal that was given to him, Doris.
Yes.
And I get the sense that whatever medal or award this is, he was so humble, he wouldn't have wanted, were he here to wear it, he wouldn't have wanted to wear it because I feel like he wants to mention it, but he's not going to show off about it.
Absolutely.
And he would have visited the White House as well.
I don't know.
Then I do get the sense that he would have visited large and well-known government buildings.
Yes.
I also want to say he would have accompanied some government official to court or protected them as they went to a courthouse or some large legal institution building.
Possibly.
Then if that's not right, Doris, you would have watched. I want to say that, Doris, would you know this to be your son?
No.
Then his relationship is such that he feels very protective to you, very protective, very embracing. And I know you would have photographs of him marching or walking whilst working.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like he's in the suit and he's with the cars and he is on, he is very proud of what he's doing. And I get this incredible sense with him that especially at this time of year, he would have done something very special for his family, because I do feel he could be away at this time of year.
Yes.
And I know he can't physically be here to do what he would normally do, but this is his special way of saying to you and the other people who love him, I'm here. I haven't gone anywhere. I will be with you. And whatever he would normally do on Christmas Day, he's doing it a couple of days early via me and Sandra and Phil. I'm going to leave his love and his heartwarm appreciation for what you are doing. It's not just you, Doris. I feel like there's a number of people that are all representing people like him, making sure it's not forgotten. I'm going to leave that with you, Doris, and say thank you very much for allowing me to do that for you.
Thank you, Kerry. You know me as Dory.
That's
I know
a friend,
you,
Dory.
Dory.
Okay, good.
Okay, thanks very much, everybody. I'm now going to pass over to Phil.
Thank you.
Hello and Merry
Kerry.
Christmas again, everybody. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. And while Kerry's working, I've got to try and keep out of that power because I'm so engrossed in what she's saying and what she's doing. Because as a medium, we never know how we're going to be inspired, impressed, or how they're going to work with us. It can be a mixture of everything that we know. So as I become aware of the spirit world, I know I have a gentleman here. I know his name is Peter. And I get the impression that he is a father. And I also feel with him as well. I want to say that he's a little bit of a bar humbug. I know that he wasn't the best at Christmas. It's almost like I was a little bit unsociable. And saying that, I'm not unkind, but I know that he wasn't the biggest lover of Christmas. And I feel the reason I'm saying that is because I feel it's about sharing time with family. It's not the commercial understanding. So I know I have Peter. I do believe it's father, and I know he wasn't the best lover of Christmas.
Thank you very much, Phil. All right, who understands this gentleman? Please press your raise hand button.
I've got a feeling, just as we're waiting for somebody to come forward, that it would have been, it's almost like I would have had to work through Christmas, or I know there's something where he couldn't participate at times.
Joanna's here with us. Hi, Joanna. Oh, your hand went down, up. Joanna,
Sorry.
that's
Yes,
okay.
I just wasn't sure the last bit.
The
it
last
would
bit.
be-
Bear with me 1 second then, Joanna. So you understand everything I said before that last bit?
Yes,
Bear with me then. Because I'll come back to that in a second, because I know there's more there. But with you understand it, your dad, Peter?
well, it would be father-in-law.
Or father-in-law. But I understand that he wasn't the biggest lover of Christmas, though.
No.
That's correct. Because I know here there's a sense to him of being a little bit bar humbug with him as well. But it's almost where I want to say he's a family man, but it's more about the time spent with each other.
Yes.
Yeah. But I also feel with your father-in-law, where I talked about that work, because I want to explore it a little bit, it's almost like I want to be in the background, almost helping out and not at the forefront of the celebration. Understand?
Yeah, somewhat.
Because I know that there's an element here where I want to be just get on with things. And it's almost with him, there's a relief afterwards when Christmas is over. Would you know that about him?
Definitely, yes.
Because I get a sense it's like, I can't say that. I just want to put my feet up. I want to rest. I just want to relax with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I said he liked his creature comforts, he liked everything around him. So it's almost where he had his favorite chair with like the TV remote and everything around him. Understand?
Yes.
Because it's almost that sense where Christmas, I can watch TV, I can escape my work and escape daily rituals.
Yeah, correct.
Because again, and it's almost where I want to watch the films like James Bond and things like this with him.
Yes.
So I know that Christmas time for him is like an escape where he can just relax too. There's an element with your father-in-law where it's a sense of him being, let me just look at this for a second. Would I be right in saying he's not a man of many words as well?
True. Yeah.
Because it's almost where I just want to, I was that man that would watch and take things in. I never missed anything, but I kept my opinions to myself.
Yeah.
But I also feel here where we would have lived at one time with him, or where he lived, where there was like either a view of valleys and trees.
Yes.
Because it's almost where I want to say Christmas times were white Christmases.
Well.
Do you understand?
Yeah. Somehow, yes.
Because again, there's an impression here where he likes, I get it. He's a man that likes to be in nature. He likes that tranquility.
Yes.
And where he used to live as well, would I be right in saying at one time he either lived in an apartment?
Yes.
Because it feels like I'm elevated, I'm looking down on things, but I know I live in a social area where there's more than one family. So that's why I feel it was an apartment of sorts as well. But you would have been there as well, Joanna.
Yes.
Because it feels where you, and would I be right in saying there was a balcony as well?
Yes.
Because it feels where you would have memories of looking out over these trees, and they're like pine trees, pine forests.
Maybe. I'm not
May-
so aware.
Bear with
Yes.
me 1 second, because I know there should have been views, though, that you saw when you were there.
Yes.
I just want to check in here. Where you live now, Joanna, would there be pine trees around you?
Not necessarily pine trees.
Not necessarily pine trees, but I know it's almost like a Christmas atmosphere I want to portray.
Yes, that's true.
That's it, because I know it's almost like an ideal postcard that I'm seeing of what he's trying to bring through to me, those impressions of my mind. I also sense as well with father-in-law, I want to go back to the beginning. I know you said it's father-in-law, but I feel like I admired you and he looked at you like his own daughter.
Maybe.
Because I know there's a sense of wanting that, not to change that feeling of dad with him as well. And if I also said he was a very punctual man, he liked to be on time for things.
Yes.
Because I know he keeps on tapping his watch to me, and I know it's more than just his watch is here, but I know I like to be organized and on time, and I like things to be like clockwork. Would I also be right in saying he had a habit of tinkering or playing with either clocks as well?
Possibly.
Because I know here he's taking that watch apart and he's showing me so he must have liked watches.
Maybe.
Maybe. I'll take that as a no, because I know there's a sense here of thank you. And would I be right in saying his watch is still here, Joanna?
This I'm not sure.
You're not sure? Okay. Because I know here, but he is a very methodical man, the way that he did things.
Yes.
Because I know everything's structured and organized as well. And I also know that you've been thinking about him just recently as well.
Yes.
And I also know there must be photographs you have of him and you together.
Yes.
Because I know it's almost there's a sense here where it captures the essence of who he is with that smile and that beaming eyes as well. But I know that reason why he's coming today is those happy memories of yesteryear trying to inspire and lift you at the moment.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You're absolutely welcome. Would I be right in saying just one last thing with your father-in-law? He had a very cheeky smile that when he did smile, you had to react to it.
Yes.
Because I know it's not just about remembering happy times. It is about lifting your spirits. And I know it's that smile that seems to capture you. It's almost like words don't need to be said. A look from him, you knew exactly how he felt about you.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to leave his love with you and say thank you very much, Joanna, for allowing me to do that.
Thank you very much, Phil. Thanks.
Good, 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 good. That's fine. Okay. Okay. All right. So as I become aware of the spirit world once more, I know I get another gentleman coming forward. It all seems to be gentlemen tonight. And I'm aware of the name of Frank with him as well. But I also feel with Frank, he would have either served in the military, and I do feel it's the army in particular. And I know I would have been either in a guard unit as well. So I know here it's something along the lines of either what is it? Mine's just gone blank on me. I know it's guards, and I'm not sure it's like the Scottish Guards in particular, because I know there's an element here to that. But I also feel with him, there must be a sense of really old-fashioned values in the way of listening to, in fact, I want to be in the Scots Guards, I want to be in the United Kingdom, and I feel he would have been either somebody that would have listened patriotically to the Queen's speech, almost like the radio has to be on, the television has to be on. We can't miss this. So I know it's Frank, I know he's in the military, I do believe it's either the Scotch Guards or something very, very similar, but I know that patriotic side never left him, and I know he would have listened to the Queen's speech or watched it on the telly, because I know it's a sacred part of Christmas.
Thank you, Phil. Who understands this gentleman? Please press your raise hand button. I feel people thinking back.
Just hold on a minute. While we're waiting for people, I might be able to. Oh, let's just look at this. I do feel that I'm with either grandfather, but I've got a sense that Frank is not his name. It's almost like the person I should associate with would know Frank also. That's the little bit that I can change there, because I knew there's something not quite right with the relationship.
Dana has her hand raised. Hi, Dana.
Hi, I think I can take a fair amount of this.
You can take a fair. So you understand, grandfather, there was in kind of the military, the army, some kind of guards unit.
Great Uncle Frank was in the military, and also my grandfather and Uncle Frank.
Don't tell me any more then. So
Sorry.
And would you understand whether there's either with one of them that connection to either the Scots Guards or an air army unit like guards, like Black Watch or something?
Not quite.
Not quite, but I know
military I can take.
That's fine, because I know here this. I need to understand. Then let me look, because I know.
Conservative.
With the military, bear with me, Diane. Let me tell you.
Sorry.
Don't worry, don't apologize. I know everyone gets excited. There's a sense here where that, because I'm looking at what I've got and I can't change it too much, but I have to get the understanding right, because it seems like either where the connection to the military is a special unit or one that is very particular, like Marines or something, a special unit. Would that make sense?
Are we talking about Frank or grandfather?
I actually feel that I want to be with grandfather.
Okay. I don't exactly know.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. Something doesn't feel right here. That's fine. Thank you for coming forward, Dana, but I know something doesn't feel right, and I don't want to make it fit.
Yeah.
I know here, I do feel that I want to be with grandfather, and I know that name of Frank does really sit here, but I know there's something really particular about the army unit that I'm in, if I'm using the correct terminology, because I know it's either a guard unit. Now, I know there's plenty of units very similar to that, but I know I saw action. I know I traveled abroad with this, and I know here there seems to be that element of that patriotism, not just because I'm in the army. It's to do with the Queen. It's to do with the country as well.
Sort of.
No, I don't feel I'm right with you, Dana. I think there's somebody else that's either not coming forward here as well.
Okay.
Just keep
that's fine.
Listening in.
Feel
Let's
right
just
with you.
check. Does somebody else understand this information? Press your raise hand button.
I'm just
Penny has her hand raised. Hi, Penny. If you could press your unmute button.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
I can. Penny, does it make sense to you?
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yes.
Grandfather was in a special unit, like guards or something. Would that make sense?
Yeah.
And would you understand where you have memories of him listening and watching the Queen's speech at Christmas?
Right. It's the unit belongs to a great grandfather.
Okay.
And the grandfather would have been like that.
Ah, that's fine. And there must be memories, though, because I need to get to the right person, where you would see him. Everyone had to be quiet while he listened.
That's the bit that doesn't gel with me. I wouldn't have been there for that bit.
You wouldn't have been there. Then you've not been told stories of him or anything like that?
Of the great-grandfather and the piper in the Scots Guards and also Irish Guards.
Ah, because you know what? I'd love to make it fit and it'd be brilliant, but I've got to stay true to what I have. It doesn't
Yeah,
feel right.
that's
Thank you very
okay.
much, Penny, for coming forward. I know that there's something here I need to understand in a big way, because I know the name of Frank does sit with this gentleman and I can't change that. I'm just hoping nobody's gone for a cup of tea like that happened in the past and things like that. But I know here. I'm just going to hold that information for a second, because I also know that I want to talk about again, I feel another military connection within the family and the name of John that associates to that connection as well to the military. I also feel with grandfather as well, there should be memories where he either tinkered with radios and wirelesses and things, because I'm getting a really old-fashioned mindset as I push in there, because it's not just about listening to the Queen's speech, it's about listening it on radios and things. He's fixed here himself. This makes
Thank you,
sense.
Phil.
There must be somebody, because I know here it's the way that I can't change it. And I know I've had two people come forward, but I know I've got to get it right. And I know Miss McLeod, you can't see, is putting a hand up, but I can't go there. I
No
do believe
hands up.
somebody's. I know, but I can't change this. And I know in the past when this has happened, somebody's emailed me and there was a slight little thing that was slightly out here.
Now, why can't you go there with Miss McLeod?
Because she's my wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, Kerry, do you understand this?
All of it.
All of it. Right. Okay. Oh,
So you got somebody asking for you to say it again.
can I remember? I know that I have grandfather. I know his name should be Frank, or Frank would associate. I know he was in the either military guard. I know it was the army. I've also added on that the name of John should connect as well. And again, I feel that's another military connection because I feel that's quite strong. I also feel that he would have tinkered with things such as radios and things like this as well. And I know that I can't change. Anything else I've missed?
The Queen's speech.
Oh, and I know he would have listened and been part of the Queen's speech, on not part of it, but listened to it. It was very important, that side of
Did
things.
active combat.
And somebody's put where? And I feel I want to be in the United Kingdom. Okay. So where he would have listened to it was his home.
Thank you. So no hands raised. And as we
Okay.
said, sometimes the messages could be taken for
Okay,
others. Maybe
so
there's
I know-
something there for your wife.
Okay. So I know you can understand this, you've said.
Yes.
Okay. So I want something absolutely out of this world to make this sit right with me. So with your...
First of all, if you're okay, Phil, working with me, can you raise your hand? We need to check with the audience.
So a couple of people, a lot of people's hands go, okay,
Okay.
that's fine.
Because we know that this is a special time for
Oh,
everybody.
right, okay. Now, with your grandfather, he would have seen action in Europe or elsewhere in the world.
Elsewhere in the world.
That's
yes.
fine. And would you understand where he saw action would have included forests and jungles and things?
Yes.
And would I be right in saying that he would have received a star like the Gurkha star as well?
He would have received a star. Yes.
That's fine, because I know here it's almost like I want to talk about the Gurkha star or a star that connects to that as well. But I want to go back to what I've already said. There must be memories of
There's a hand up.
Is there a hand up?
You're muted, Sam.
We asked them to raise their hand if it was okay.
That's
that
fine.
they
All
work
right,
with
That's
you.
fine.
okay.
But because I just feel here, I want to go back to the radios. I know he would have either worked on old crystal radio sets as well, tinkered with them.
Yes.
And it's almost where I want to pick them up, either scrap or second hand, and fix them as well.
Yes.
And I know it's not just one, there would be a memory of a few as well.
Correct.
And it's not just the crystal sets, it's more modern ones. Well, modern for the 50s, 60s.
Yes.
Because I also feel here, that's fine. But again, where I said about listening to the Queen's speech, it would have been over the radio.
Yes,
And it would have been on one of the radios he fixed.
correct.
And I want to say that he would have had like a little garden shed where he kept everything in.
I can't remember.
Because he's bringing me a memory of the garden shed with one of these transistor radios in where he would listen to. Thank you. Would I be right in saying that where he got some of these things from, as in the radios and that, was his work as well?
Yes,
Almost like I either working in recycling or transformation yards or tips and things.
amongst others, yes.
Okay, because I know here it's that impression, but there's a sense with him. And Frank was his name.
It was.
And there also is a John in the spirit world as well.
Right.
That also connects to the army as well.
Yes.
Because I know they seem to be both together, but I feel they're different generations.
Correct.
That's fine. Because my wife, I'm going to keep this short. I know there's a sense here with your grandfather about celebrating just community spirit and togetherness. It seems very important to him.
It would be.
And I know that's what I want to bring you at this time of year, is that sense of community as well. But he must have either been part of it. Was it the Black Watch or the Black Guard?
Not him, no.
But there must be another gentleman.
John.
Ah, that's fine, because I know here should all go together. I didn't want to let it go. That's fine. And you still have either, oh, this is different. There must be either family keepsakes you've still got of your grandfather or still in the family.
I would imagine so.
Because I still want a radio or a wireless still being kept.
I don't think so.
Okay. I know
I'd
there's
need to
that.
check
Okay,
with
that's fine, because I know there should be still that there as well, almost like it's kept and put out of the way. I'm going to leave your grandfather's love with you. Thank you for making me work so hard, but I needed to place it right. I'm going to say thank you very, very much.
And thank you, everybody, for allowing that to happen.
Oh, thank you, Kerry and Phil. We love you guys. The spirit world works in mysterious ways sometimes, but we can pull all that information towards us. So I've got some announcements for you. Yes, I do. First of all, some of you have put some very nice messages in the chat box. We are a little too busy actively to write you back. So you can write to me, sandrachamplain@gmail.com. Kerry and Phil's website is mymediumship.com. And there's a contact button that you can use. Now, again, we're going into holiday time. Our loved ones are with us. We are here. You can reach out to them. You can reach out to me if you need a little support. We are here for you. Some good things coming up on Christmas Eve, the same time that we started today. Kerry and Phil are hosting just a community hour, holiday special. Bring a cup of cheer and just join us. Our cameras will be on. We can say hello to each other. I'll put or have Kerry put in the chat box what the link is to register for that. Should you like to be part of that, I will be there as well. We've got some also. Let me just back up a little. Coming up is the day after Christmas. Our friends Kath and Mitch Shirley are hosting their free Grief Cafe. It's a 90 minutes together with people that care. They're both advanced grief recovery specialists. They're mediums. They understand how tough it is. It is not recorded, but it's just a really wonderful place to share, learn about grief, and be with people that care. Also, I've got 2 new podcast episodes. One is with the nice fellow you just met, called Tom Bender, who gave our address just recently on our Sunday gathering. I have an interview with him. He hosts a podcast, Heroes in Grief, and he gives some really incredible stories about the reconnections with his son beyond the veil. And then on Shades of the Afterlife, my other podcast, it's a special Christmas episode. There's some tips in there with being in communication with your loved ones. And the last segment, I lead you through a guided imagery of reconnecting with your loved one. It is a very profound and special one. You can find those at the main page at wedon'tdie.com. You'll also see other good things there. You can register for our next Sunday gathering. I'll be together again with Kerry and Phil as we think about ringing in the new year. Also, we'll be together again on the 5th of January, just starting off a New Year's right together as a community. Speaking of New Year's, Kerry and Phil have a new class that will be held on the Wednesdays in January, same time we start today, before Wednesdays, 2-hour sessions, The Power of Your Soul. Friends, we are all powerful divine souls here having a human experience. It's tapping into some of those powers of our soul, really to plan and create and live an incredible 2025 and beyond. If you're interested in getting a little taste of how Kerry and Phil and others connect using their psychic and medium abilities, we all have them. Again, divine souls having a human experience. We welcome you to join Kerry and Phil's Thursday class. Again, starts the same time as we started today. It's called Connecting with the Soul and the Spirit World. So you'll tap into your psychic and mediumistic abilities, and you do readings on people in the class. It's great, one-on-one. So it's fun. It's just terrific. You never need to go on to be a medium unless you'd like to. But this really gives you a taste for current students. Doesn't matter how advanced you are. This is a wonderful class, even for beginners. It's really, really nice to feel how close we are to our soul and to those in the spirit world. Other good things coming up as well with our friend Scott Milligan, things with myself, and more. It's all at wedon'tdie.com. You can click on the store page. Also, I want to do a shout out to our generous friends who have donated to make our Sunday gathering possible. You know who you are, and we appreciate you. We really do. We know some of you have been so generous throughout the year, and others have been real generous the end of the year here. Thank you. It takes a lot to put on a Sunday gathering, and we just work on donations to make all of it happen behind the scenes. If you want to donate, you can. If you don't, that's fine too, but you'll find that link at the Sunday Gathering page at wedon'tdie.com. You can also watch past Sunday gatherings and register for our upcoming ones there. I think that is it for me. I'm going to pass it over to Kerry and Phil. And if you could just mention a little bit more about our Christmas special that you're hosting, and then the words for the week, please.
Yes, well, we know that this time of year can be difficult for those of us that find ourselves on our own, or for those of us that just need a little bit of plug-in time with those from the Sunday gathering. So we thought Christmas Eve would be the perfect time to do that. So we'll be at the same time as we've started today. We'll be on Christmas Eve. The link is in the chat room, the chat box. And it will also be in the newsletters that Sandra sends out as well. It's where you can hear of some stories that we have. You can share your stories of Christmas. You can join us just to hear friendly voices, laughter, bring a cup of tea, bring a bun or a cake with you, and just spend an hour or so with us. And hopefully it offers you the opportunity to feel your heart lifted a bit as you head into Christmas Eve. We know that those in Australia and New Zealand will already be in Christmas Day. So if you find yourself at a loose end early in the morning, come along and join us. But we have always done this each year through COVID, and it seemed no reason why it should be any less appropriate now.
Yes. Christmas is about a time of year that we all come together, and that's why we create that slot, that time, because we know people are on their own and families are not here and they're living within those memories. So to be part of a community, to be part of a program, give somebody something to look forward to and be part of. And that's why we do it. And those words that we've all shared today, I hope resonate with you, because there is no need to be on your own. We can rejoice in the memories of people of the past. We can still aspire to be great in the future, knowing that we've got each other, for support makes a huge difference. But also, we can remember a smile, just a nice greeting to somebody can change somebody's day. So if you're out there on a brisk walk, say hello, say good morning, afternoon, or wherever you are in the world, because you never know, they might not have spoken to somebody all day. So change their lives, change your minds, and let's come together and show that human kindness wherever we are in the world. Thank you. It is that time, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going into what we call that closing prayer. So if you can join me by closing your eyes, rejoicing in the memories of your loved ones, while we say a few words that bring us all together this special time of year. Great infinite Spirit, we've gathered again under the banner of We Don't Die, a place, a community that we can share our souls and our hearts as we combine our minds and our thoughts at this present time to those places in this world that need that healing, that upliftment and that love. But also we keep a little bit of that power for ourselves, for our own happiness, our own joy, but also to create that spark of that divine within us to take us forward into the new year approaching. It is with that thought, Father, with that love in our hearts and minds, that we rejoice and we create a power that helps people around this globe. Amen.
Thank you so much, Phil and Kerry and everybody at home or wherever you are. Thanks for being part of our community. And of course, to our spirit friends, they're with you. Yes, they are today and every day. So as we go into our closing song, it's a little Nat King Cole. A little Christmas happiness. All right, we love you guys and gals. Hopefully we'll see you on the 24th. If not, Merry Christmas. And then we'll see you on the 29th for our next Sunday gathering. Bye, everyone. Bye, Kerry and Phil. Kisses to all.